Dawntrial. It's been out a few weeks now, and it's now time to do an honest review of the MSQ and other aspects of the story. While this is the case, I don't think I've ever seen a more polarizing expansion like this one. So it's going to be interesting to see what you guys think in the comments of what I rate everything out of 10. So buckle up and get ready. There are spoilers ahead. Don't watch if you've not played the story. Let's get into it. Getting onto the MSQ, some of you may know that looking at the reviews online, that Dawntrial's story has been under the microscope for not being up to standard. Well, I think I'm sort of in the middle with this claim. The story has a good plot, and I think the story suffers from weird pacing like what we previously saw in Stormblood and Endwalker. There are times where you're built up to something huge, only to pause to go on an excursion for 2 hours. Even the whole Solution 9 arc, while amazing, just felt extremely out of place for the story in which we were led to believe from the start. If that's what they were going for though, fair enough, I'll not judge it further. While this is the case, the main elements you'd expect from an expansion are there and supplement the story really well. We'll go into that later. Pivoting back to the main story, a lot of criticism has been aimed at the writing succession and the focus on Wook Lamont. Wook Lamont's story is being criticised as her character and story seems almost rushed from the first time we properly see her at the start of the expansion. Realistically, the weight and direction of this expansion could have been made clearer in pre-patch content instead of just being chucked in. Her story does seem to be one similar to Shonen. Finding her unempowering, to be honest, I like the idea, I just think the execution was weird. To conclude, I understand and empathise with the fans here. I do see what Yoshi P and the writers were trying to do. We have a massive build up over the last few expansions to where we are, and recently we closed the door on that into a story different and a different kind of adventure. Personally, I like the idea, and I think it's harsh to be negative at this point, considering nobody was hiding that this was going to happen. There's always going to be a point where the story needs to take a step back to take a leap forward, and this is the expansion to do that. If I'm being really positive, we don't know what's really in store with the rest of the expansion, and maybe we'll be surprised. But if I was to give it an overall rating out of 10, I think I would be honest to give it a 7. Right, moving on to gameplay. It's had a lot of work since Endwalker, and it really shows the effort was put in. I mean, let's just look at the dungeons, the zones, the raids, and just the music in general. It just rocks. They all have their own moments of being fantastic, and they're much more engaging. The increase in difficulty and new mechanics, new models, and just insane environment just brings a whole new character to each and every instance you're in. The overall gameplay is just amazing, and for it, I have to give it a 10 out of 10. Insane. Moving on to the jobs. Let's start with Picto. Picto is a big breath of fresh air from the team, as it just seems to be the job that was made with love. The artist approach to the attacks and the animations associated, including that unbelievable hammering move what was added by the way, that's just awesome. It's just so good. I'm so happy that it's been added, and it's quite clearly well received in game because everyone is now leveling Pictomancers. We also had a Viper debut in this expansion. Viper's aesthetic is just awesome. The idea of wielding 2 blades and joining them into one and having some sort of almost pirate looking character is just really cool to see. I also think that the creative options that come with the Viper class add some awesome idea for glamours, which too I am looking forward to seeing. However, the one criticism I've heard from players is compared to Picto, the Viper's rotation and mechanics are just not as engaging. Which is a small disappointment for sure, but this can all be changed in future. Overall, I think the classes are great, and I have to give it an 8 out of 10. Tell me what you think below. Okay, just to generally round off then what I think of this expansion so far, I do think we have been quite critical of the expansion so far. I do think there is going to be opportunities down the line for the game to get better. Obviously with the more patch content and more, you know, things to do, things like that, and obviously more substance to the story. And you know, Yoshi P did say that he would rather have a bunch of critical reviews of the game to work with rather than a bunch of positive feedback. There was no malice in any of the decisions I put. I love the game, I really do. I love, you know, socializing in the game. Everyone's so friendly, the community's insane, and I do believe that Final Fantasy does deserve to be the biggest MMO in the world. I do. But I am excited to see where this Dawntrial expansion goes. But overall, my overall opinion out of 10, I think I'm going to give it an 8.5 because if the patch content and the more they add to the story gets better, I think it will be insane. And obviously the number's so high just for what I love in the expansion, like the quality of life changes, and you know, some of the dungeons, the raids, Arcadian, etc. Just music, just everything is insane. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I've been quite nervous to make this video, obviously. I know there's going to be some conflicting views in the comments and things like that, but that's fine. That's the way it's supposed to be. We're all entitled to our own opinion. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate a like. I would appreciate a sub as well. I'm trying to get to 500 subs. That'd be cool. And I'd really like to hear you guys' opinions in the comments. I might even make a response video to some of your comments, and we'll just kind of discuss it, because obviously it's an important thing to discuss. We all love the game, we all care for it. We might as well, you know, discuss our points and find some common middle ground. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Take care. I'll see you later. Bye.